Many times when you're working on a 1/6 scale project or any scratch building project and you want to have functional hatches, you're going to need to find a way to mount the hatches to the vehicle without having them fall all the way in. On real vehicles, there is a small little ledge that is positioned below the body panel, which prevents the hatch from falling through. This tutorial will show you how to replicate that on your model. This SDKZ 222 armored car, I already cut out the area for the engine hatch, as well as the areas for the two axis panels were already cut out on the laser cut kit I was working with. To have the hatch holes cut out, you're going to need to plate over the area with a piece of sheet styrene. If we look at the interior portion here, I cut a styrene square for the two axis panels, and for the main engine hatch, I had to cut another larger piece of plastic. When cutting out the plastic, you want to measure so that you have at least 1/4 of an inch of leeway around the area where you're going to cut out. This is so that the plate has enough plastic to grip so that the piece is nice and strong. For parts that have a little bit intricate geometry to them, like this engine hatch here, you might have to first create a paper template. You just put the piece of paper down on the model, trace it with a pencil, and cut. Once you have the template, transfer that to plastic, and then glue all the plastic panels to the inside portion of the hull. After the glue dries, it is then time to mark the portion of the plastic that you're going to keep and which areas you're going to remove. To do that, I recommend using a dry erase marker like this Expo pen here. You could use a Sharpie for the same job, but keep in mind that after you're done cutting, it's easier to remove the dry erase as opposed to Sharpie ink. The problem with using a permanent marker like a Sharpie is that if you don't remove the ink can penetrate and bleed through your primer as well as even your base coat. When marking the space with the marker, I like to butt the marker up against the plastic rim as possible. This is so that the edge will actually be a guide and your line will be consistent all throughout the entirety of the hatch well. Perform this to all areas that you need to remove. For the actual removal of the material, you're going to be using a router bit like this one here that is going to be inserted into a rotary tool like a Dremel or this Black & Decker RTX. The router bit will eat away and remove the plastic. To smooth everything over, you're going to need a sanding drum. You could use a fine or a medium grit drum to sand away the material. After you're done with the router bit, you'll notice that the cut is a little bit rough and needs to be refined. This is normal. The router bit is only used to, again, remove the center portion of the material that is unnecessary. When you're routering the pieces out, make sure that you try to stay a little bit clear of the line. This is because once you go in there with the drum, you could refine the line and make it more uniform with much ease. After you're done with the sanding drum, the hatch area will be a lot more refined. Both when you're sanding it down with the drum and when you're removing the material with the router bit, it is best to go at very slow speeds with the Dremel. This way you have a lot more control and less of a chance of the plastic melting around the bits to remove more material than desired. The last thing to do is remove the ink with a small little rag, or you could even use a cotton swab for the same procedure. To help remove the ink, you could douse the cotton swab or the tip of the rag in a little bit of paint thinner. After the rag is soaked in paint thinner, you could easily just rub away the ink until it is all removed. And with the ink removed, the hatch well area procedure is now complete. Now, in addition to having some extra detail on your model, your hatch will sit nice and flush and will not try to fall in. And with that, that concludes this 1/6 scale hatch weld tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, stop by and like us on Facebook. And also, don't forget to check out eastcoastarmory.com for more 1/6 scale tank builds, as well as 1/6 scale detail components. This has been John from eastcoastarmory.com. Thanks for watching.